Sure thing. My body is all yours.
What is your business at the Brass Citadel? You're the Watcher. The one who nearly caused a riot in Queensbirth. The Grand Secretary at Sura wants to meet you. His office is on the lower level of Imperial Command. Up the stairs. Once you're inside, go downstairs through the room on the right. Her office is at the back of Imperial Command. She is busy organizing other matters. But I am sure she will grant you an audience.
I'm fine, but what's my motivation? I'm always willing.
I'm sorry, but this area is strictly off-limits. Private property of the Royal Deadfire Company, that's what. Sorry, my orders come from the Hazanui herself. All it would take is one stray flame, one errant spark. No, I'm sorry, but you really don't understand.
I'm always... No need to thank me.
I still can't let you through.
I've got this.
Beat it. I don't have time to chit-chat. Shouldn't you be at work or something? This is no place for the likes of you. Not a chance, amico. Fascina sent you, didn't she? Postinago, just for these? Soft as down, but not a single fence willing to pay me a fair price. Maybe they've got imp stink all over them. Really? Where were you when I needed you? Let's get this over with. Here he comes, and I'm too late. If Hamuto doesn't give me an extension on my debt, I'm a dead man.
So, Berteno, you hired a mercenary, or else a negotiator. That coin should have gone toward your debt to me.
Huh? No, I didn't. That is, I would never go behind your back. Hamuto, I wondered if you might take them as a payment on my debt, or maybe for an extension?
I possess gloves of my own, and they suffice for my needs. This is a private matter. Your interference is unnecessary. Indentured servitude. I trust this is a more honest and respectable alternative than any pursuit he would take on his own terms. Do I? One can be adherent to the tenets of maritime law and still be seen as a monster. Enough. I have work for you. No. Berteno's assets are mine to dispense with as I please. I'll hear no more of it. These are Archimer's possessions? I would no more incur the wrath of an archmage than I would stick my head inside a dragon's maw. There you have it. If our business is concluded at last, then I take my leave.
Sure, why not? Knock, knock. What did I tell you? You didn't see anything. I've got magic fingers.
Looking for a pistol or an arquebus? Rawatai makes the finest guns in Aora, and I make the finest guns in Rawatai. Craftsmanship. If you ask my superiors at Imperial Command, they'll tell you our main exports are saltpeter and metal. Those are just things. They're prized because of what we do with them. Rawataian industry is about discipline, precision, mastery of a careful art. Those qualities guide all that we build.
I've got this.
Leave. No Valiant spy is coming through on my watch.
I'm a merchant. I have business inside.
You want to see our walls, our cannons, our powder house. You must think I'm an idiot.
Ach, you got one thing right. The Royal Deadfire Company is a trading company, is it not? And you are on Kahanga soil. You cannot turn me away.
The Brass Citadel and the Royal Deadfire Company operate under the auspices of the Ranga Nui of Rawatai. We answer to him, not to you. And certainly not to some tribal queen of Neketaka. If you think we're safe, you haven't been in Deadfire long. There's hardly a stretch of sea that doesn't have a pirate or privateer lurking nearby. These Valians are always sending their spies to snoop around, and I won't have it.
And these Rawataians think they own anything they stack 2 stones on top of. I am here to conduct business, not engage in petty power struggles.
What? She's up to no good, I know it. Fine. But if you're wrong, we're gonna have a talk later.
Agressima, friend.
Watcher, if you have a moment, I'd like to tell you something. I appreciate that you have been helping me, helping the Republics. I know that you have an important purpose in the Deadfire, and that purpose is not the same as ours. Still, I hope you can see the potential the Republics have to do good here. Quite, but I trust you will continue to support us in the future. Corres.
Green islands and blue skies.
The locals don't know how good they have it.
Can you believe your eyes? I've never seen such a fair, pristine land.
I've heard they're grand, but I can't imagine they compare to this.
I grew up surrounded by storms and stones. Rawatai is my soul. But this place has enchanted me.
It's the land. Fertile, green, and abundant.
No, it's something else. I just can't put my finger on what.
And who are its people? The Huana of old? Or the pirates who live here now? Deadfire belongs to those who can master and build upon it. That's what's exciting.
Perhaps that's it.
Why does your Ranga carve his name into a rock?
The Ranga Nui, and it's a commemoration to show what he built.
Oh. Then did your Reparo also write their names on other stones? For what do you squawk and gloat over a heap of stones? Akira, you Rawataians are strange cousins indeed.
The Brass Citadel is a marvel of modern engineering. With the gates barred and the cannons primed, it can withstand any attack and weather any storm. Surely you can see what a fine stronghold this is. Please, spare us empty pleasantries. We transformed a rocky cove into the best defended harbor in Neketaka. Such achievements must be celebrated.
This rocky cove was once a prized fishing spot for the Riparu. These Rawatayans act as if every bare islet is merely awaiting a fort or a farm. They cannot look at anything without planning to change it.
To strive is to survive. Those who would achieve greatness must make the world a better, more ordered place than they found it.
Why change the world when you can learn to live in it the way it is? This is what my people have done for thousands of years. Must we sacrifice the needs of the few to the whims of the many, then? Akira, nothing invigorates like a good discussion. Thank you for indulging us. There is so little we understand of one another.
All body people, all Rawatai, to many lands you spread. Heed the call of the Raganui. His voice shall fill your sails. Slavers proud the caves and reefs, seasoned water souls. Who would come with sword and gun to end their evil scourge?
With sails unfurled and sword held high, to battle for glory and Rautai.
Faithfully done, Emiani. Report to Wakoyo Nui when your hands and your temper have healed.
That's the last time I ship out with some soft-handed runt.
Hello there. Always nice to see another furry face around here. I've got all sorts of goods and supplies. Take a look before you head back out. Because I'm from Rawatai. Or, to be more specific, my ancestral home's been part of the Empire for decades. Few generations now. The usual way, I guess. Their soldiers beat ours. I guess it used to. When I was younger, I grew up hearing stories of the time before from my grandparents. But they were children themselves when Rawatai took over. Some wax romantic about the old days. Anyways, I'm just trying to make a living. That's why I'm here, after all. I don't know. I never known anything else. We've got the Rawataians' fancy new irrigation canals now, and the roads have gotten better. The ones leading into Takoa, anyhow. Funny thing is, the further you go on them, the nicer everything gets, and the more it all looks like this. That's a better subject. Take a look.
Suddenly she's not.
Meet her eye when you've got bad news. She respects that.
I don't think she likes me. I spent most of my career escorting foreign ships.
Many have. She's got nothing against scramble routes, but don't stare at her hand.
If this is about the Hazatoa tournament, I've got nothing to do with that, all right? I just serve the drinks. Some of the soldiers and sailors get to making unwise bets when they play. Like I said, I keep out of it. None of the regulars are looking for new opponents, though, if that's what you're asking. All the better for you, trust me. They always pay on time. They're run by the Ranganui, so they should, right? Also, I'm from a town near Takoa. Rautai's full of all kinds of kith, not just Amawa. But the Amawa have a long history at sea. They make up a lot of sailors and soldiers, including most of the ones that ended up here. You're a captain working for the Royal Deadfire Company, right? Sure you are. Even if you're not, I've heard your name enough to think you are. Try the razor skewers, if you can handle the heat.
Come to gawk, too? My punishment's over, you know. I shouldn't take my anger out on you. It's not your fault I punched my captain. Though maybe he shouldn't have insulted my aim. Like I don't know the difference between a smooth and rifled bore. I'm not reporting back to Wakoyo, that's for sure. I crewed on mercenary ships before this. Come to think of it, that suited me better. Still a scramble root at heart, I guess. But I'm plenty experienced. Maybe I'll see if anyone's looking for an expert cannoneer. Don't take this the wrong way, but I only crew with captains I know. Either personally or by reputation. I'm sure you're capable, but I don't know enough about you. Yet. Let's talk again when you've made a name for yourself.
I've got magic fingers. Let's just keep this our knock-knock.
Clear skies, my friend. The boats of our decorated armada have orders which spread them thinly across the archipelago. Rawatai finds itself in need of a privateer. Your ship, unmoored from Deadfire politics, is an asset I would grasp with both hands. An arrangement can help us both. You will empty the seas of competition in exchange for profit. An official reckoning is drafted to account for every cannonball shot in the name of Rawatai. Our paperwork is most thorough. For every ship sunk, there is a legal justification. Our enemies will know the war is started on the day we fail to turn in our paperwork. A Scylla wave skipper is your first target. A pirate shirking any pretense of lawful conduct in the open seas. Most excellent. A Scylla commands the Voyager River Dragon, which pesters a group of islands to the southwest of Port Mage. Ask away, my
All this trouble over a tablet of fucking stone. If my company's standing wasn't on the line, I would have written this one off as a loss already. All of her pretenses of cultural pride are a means to an end. Like the rest of the Huana, she isn't above exploiting any advantage if she can profit from it. As you say. It's a handsome piece of rock, which some call valuable. I won't dispute that point if the value goes to Rawatai. Arkemir is a magical savant and a recluse. That makes for a very dangerous combination. He relies on imps and ironclad constructs to maintain the estate. When you've lived as long as Arkemir, I suppose trust becomes a problem. I believe that he had dealings with black market treasure hunters. Not that the Queen will implicate him. I suppose it's no secret that we're after more than some arbitrary cultural touchstone. We're looking for a route to Ukaizo. It stands to reason that ancient lore would be a key to finding the place. Fine by me. I'm looking forward to the day when the Harappo epic is someone else's concern. When it comes to finding the Lost Island, we can't afford to neglect any lead. The Ranganui seeks to saddle the weather and harness the storm. If there is a place where this can happen, it is Ukaizo. I help finance expeditions around the Isles, which often means keeping an ear to the ground. Not very romantic from behind a desk, but Rawatai's campaign could use the extra coin.
That's easy.
I always forget that part. Say, you're the Watcher of Cadnua, aren't you? I've never met anyone famous before. Except the Hazanui. She yells at me sometimes. Oh, all the time. Where's my white leaf? Stop daydreaming. So bore me, if you lose the ledgers again, I'll have you clean the latrines. All this time, I didn't realize she knew my name. It's just, this is my first time away from the rough country. I'd heard there were thick, green forests and sandy beaches without a storm in sight, but I never imagined this. You must have traveled lots, seen all sorts of amazing places. I sure hope to. I'd love Rawatai, but it's hard to go a week without seeing storms, or hearing about mudslides burying a village somewhere. I really wish I could, but my supplies are for the Royal Deadfire Company and our allies. Hazanui's orders. Maybe if you impress her or Atsura, they could make an exception.
No need to thank me.
Except the house. Where's all this? It's just you must have traveled lots, seen all sorts. I love Rowett. Maybe if you have.
By the kitchen.
They weren't that bad.
Rhyming Hazanui with kablooey?
I can't think of anything else that goes with Hazanui.
Me neither. That's why I leave epics to the lore college.
Criticism is easier than creation.
Hi, Miko. It is good to see you. It has been several years, no?
Time to get my sneak on. Come take a I've got magic fingers. You're very welcome. Knock, knock. Tips are always appreciated.
Agrasima for protecting me from the Dominels.
Watcher Nui, the Lord of Cadnua. I'm not one for ostentation, but your remarkable display at Queen's birth suggests that you are an individual with skills, not mere style. You are most canny, but I think we can do plenty for each other. Rawatai has long maintained trade interests in the region. While our homeland is rich in saltpeter, the violent climate and rocky soils make it a poor source for most other basic staples. It's my business to look after the mainland's interests here. And it's a pleasure to meet someone of your elegant manners. I wish I had been there to see your grand entrance at the palace, but I avoid Serpent's Crown as much as possible. It is a place of entirely too much talk, and I find that the more talk one hears, the less it means. Such is the world we live in. Were it different, all the locksmiths and masons in Eora would be out of work. And here our neighbors include a nation of pirates and a fractured people led by a figurehead, to say nothing of the Valians. Leave it to them to observe a substance that occurs nowhere else on Eora, and immediately set about pulverizing it for profit.
And leave it to a Rawatayan to ignore the dozens of other uses Valian animancers have discovered for luminous Adra just in the last few years.
I do not think in years, Aimika. I think in centuries. Yet the Valians toy with luminous Adra like a child who has discovered her mother's pistol. For now. But what will ultimately win out? The Valians' drive for innovation, or their hunger for wealth? Besides, we know too little about luminous Adra to understand the consequences of ripping it out. Perhaps you can help me keep them from doing more harm. The demand for luminous Adra has sent the Valian Trading Company into a frenzy. Their expeditions grow too bold, and their officers too greedy. Worse, their rapid expansion attracts pirates and threatens the outlying Juana tribes. This risks souring the Kahanga royals against all foreign involvement. But you can curtail their growth. By snapping up land we need to grow food and build ships for our people? Indeed. But our interests and Deadfire's are not mutually exclusive. The Valians have sent an expedition to Pococahara, a storm-wrecked island believed to house a vein of luminous. I hear you accomplished an incredible feat in restoring the luminous Adra near Port Mage. If your abilities allow you to do that, then perhaps you are also capable of the opposite. Find the luminous Adra at Pococahara. Render it unusable to the Valians. This should encourage them to develop the resources they have, rather than reaching for more. Deeply. But if a small sacrifice here will discourage the Valians from further ventures, then it is a worthwhile risk. Because governors like Clario are a rare breed. Most of the Valian administrators care little for the well-being of the Juana. If the Valians claim Pococahara, it is the locals who will truly suffer. For all their faults, they don't lack imagination. I'm confident they know of our intentions. Deadfire is a tumultuous place. Consider the value of an ally with ships, cannons, and the backing of a great empire. I do not have the precise location of Pococahara, but the tribe on the nearby island of Tikawara could probably help. I suggest starting there. Now, what else can I do for you? How do you mean that? Are you making advances at me? It's for the best. This would be a most inconvenient time to begin an attachment. How do you mean that? Rawatai is composed of many types, but It's true, many here are soldiers and engineers, none of whom are especially diligent about paperwork. It's a trading post, of course. Anything worth building is worth protecting. It's a trading post, of course. Rawatai is rich in saltpeter, copper, and a few other profitable minerals. We generally trade for food and timber, which grow poorly in the rough country. The Valians have become aggressive competitors in recent years, but our ships were plying the seas long before the Republic's declared independence. We learned the value of defending our goods and ships long ago. Clear skies.
I've got this.
The former Lord of Cadnua, and one-time Terrifier of Harbor Masters. If dockside tales are to be believed, you have not brought much good news of late. So, in addition to pirates, profiteers, and slavers, the Deadfire has a vengeful god roaming its waters? Tell that to my dead at Hasongo. Just what the archipelago needs. One more disaster tugging at the seams. He must be stopped. If there were help to be found at the palace, do you think Deadfire would be such a mess? The Valians won't lift a finger if it isn't to snatch a coin, and the Huana will barely do that much.
No? Tell it to the water shapers who washed your stranded boats from sandbars, Hasanui.
Success in trade has been quite elusive for the Rauataians, but the bitterness suits you well.
No one takes charge to solve the big problems. But perhaps we could work together to our mutual benefit. Look around. Deadfire's full of fertile, temperate islands. Except for Andra's Mortar. It's largely free of rough weather. Yet much of it is uninhabited. Itinerant tribes drift between some of the islands, and smugglers and slavers cluster around the rest. It's a waste. Imagine what this place could be, with well-guarded shipping routes. How many Rauataians we could feed with plantations here. The Valian Trading Company wants to leech every last coin they can from the Deadfire, no matter the eventual cost. They're little more than thieves. The Principi are actual thieves, no matter their pretensions of nobility. And the Juana are happy to let them all pick away at their fractured empire.
Where you see fractures, I see the lines of age.
Lines big enough to sail the Valian fleet through. We're interested in building something here. That's a naive view. One our enemies are keen to promote. Raotai's violent storms have shaped and hardened us as much as they have our homeland's rocky terrain. But it remains a difficult place to live. So, we rely on trade, and on plantations we've established here. And those developments also create a more stable, productive Deadfire. If you're chasing the god who's stomping this place into the ground, then we have a common goal. And if you're going to survive here, then you could use an ally. The disaster at Hasango remains a key concern. We rely on the port there to ship food back to Raotai. That's on hold until you investigate. Short of that, there are other matters that demand attention. You've already spoken with Atsura. For now, I suggest you continue to work with him. I might have something for you later. It happened a year into my first command. We were chasing pirates along Raotai's south coast, and they landed a shop right next to our magazine. A lucky hit. I ran below. The fire was already spreading and making for our powder stores. I smothered what I could with my uniform, pulled the rest away with my own hands. We don't get to choose our challenges, do we? Just the way we meet them. There's a cost to every victory, and the win goes to those willing to make a sacrifice. I'll bet you already know a thing or two about that, and if you don't, Deadfire will teach you soon enough. Hazatoa, Atsura and I usually have a game running, and this one's been going on for over a month and a half. Atsura's good at misdirection, but I've got a mind for the long game. You look like you've come with a purpose.
The Ranga Nui leads us, but he represents all of Rauatai.
Then must he put his name
My
on
hands
everything?
are feeling better.
My share is simpler.
It's my... Don't take this the wrong way. I'm sure... Let's talk again.
Keeping an eye out.
Knock, knock. What did I tell you? I've got magic fingers. Tips are... Appreciated. gifts already, but you haven't even bought me dinner yet.
I shall be discreet.
Whoa, look.
Aye?
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Oh? I shall. Yes?
Your exchange with Amrio was... My friend, you return.
I'll see you when I see you.
Permission to come aboard, Captain?
A question, Watcher? Captain. Or should I call you The Watcher of Cadnua? I confess that title. Something of a mouthful. How very informal of you. I think I would prefer something a bit more decorous. Captain it is, then. When you took me aboard, you neglected to mention that you were in pursuit of a rampaging deity. The Blue Colossus may be one of the defining events of the age. I count myself fortunate to bear witness to your investigation. Speaking of, let us return to it, yeah? Yes. Ado, Captain. Do you require my expertise? I admit to excitement, curiosity. I cherish the opportunity to explore, to test my wits against ancient ruins and vicious wildlife. Most ships discourage such avocations. It was neither so random nor so strange a thing as your question would suggest. In a word, animancy. The Republics take the most progressive attitude towards the subject, and thus they attract its foremost scholars, among whom I count myself. Increased tensions between the Republics and the Deerwood, for one. I had little interest having my experiments disrupted by some grudge-bearing bricklayer from Defiance Bay. Mostly, though, my studies demanded more luminous Audra than I could afford to import. So I sought out the source. Very much so. Though I imagine you capable of finding someone much better suited to telling you of them. I spent most of my time in laboratories and libraries. In a way, your ship reminds me of them. A dozen kith from every corner of Aora, working towards a common goal, while your crew pursues Aethys across the sea. Ours pursue the future, each chasing our own dawn. I admit bias, but they are very likely the grandest in the world. Imagine great domes rising above your head, shelves along each wall stacked high with tomes, as if the building itself were built of bound pages. They were the true treasure of the Republics. The collected histories, dramas, and comedies of Old Valia. The most advanced arcane theories of Adir. The most ancient liturgical texts of Anguith. And the most advanced treatises on animancy. Many things. A strong dark tea, a comic play, the song of a whale, the soft resistance of paper to quill or fabric to needle. Discovering what's just over the horizon. There exists things in this world beautiful and wondrous both. One only needs leave the land to find them. Speaking of, let us see what the horizon holds, yeah? How might I assist? Greetings again. Do you require my expertise, my studies? I cannot promise a dissertation, but I'll happily discourse upon the broader strokes. You haven't read my work, then? As an apprentice, I focused on, and then helped discredit, the phrenological approach. At the time, it seemed more difficult than I thought it should be. Some of my colleagues had a vested interest in a model of the world that included an inherent hierarchy of kith. That some kith made more worthy receptacles for souls than others, based on the shape of their brow or the length of their ears, was apparently an idea too tantalizing to abandon. Afterwards, my interest turned to the theoretical, before shifting a few decades later to the study of parapsychological inertia. Parapsychological inertia. The tendency for some souls to gravitate towards familiar locales or engage in behaviors exhibited from past lives. From there, I moved on to work in metamortality, the scientific study of souls over lifetimes and the cycle of reincarnation, which brings us to the present. That depends on who you ask. Generally, Audra conducts soul energy. Luminous Audra also stores it, however.
Is it simply a worse conductor getting clogged by essence? Or is this indicative of a specialized function? Unfortunately, greed stymies inquiry. Rawatai and the Republics grind every ounce they find down into bath salts. I could theorize, but given how little I've observed of him, it would be irresponsible of me to do so. It must require incredible energy, though. Staggering amounts of soul essence. And can Audra truly be so flexible? Why does he not crumble? Whatever he is, however he accomplishes it, perhaps we can discover together, if the discovering doesn't kill us. You set the sled before the dogs. Before making decisions regarding what should be done, we must first understand what is. Anything else is a dream in the dark. The truth, of course. I'm sorry that I have no simple answer for you. Embarking on inquiry with an agenda, that is how mistakes get made. Not at all, but I admit them. Of course, Captain.
I know exactly what you're thinking. You're asking yourself, how did I let the Royal Deadfire Company plant an informant in my crew? My superiors might expect me to report in from time to time, but don't read too much into it. You're not the only big thing happening around here. I'm in this for a lot of information, a little diplomacy, and plenty of target practice. Better that you hear it from me than someone else, right? The company isn't in the business of reassigning officers outside of the mission unless they've got a damn good reason. And you are a damn good reason. Take the compliment. This whole campaign is a risk-benefit analysis. The Navy knows you're a gamble, and they're factoring in all potential losses. Rawatai is here to do some good work, since the Huana can't seem to do it themselves. Maybe just try and stay out of our way. Then I look forward to seeing how long it takes before you find yourself in someone's back pocket. Well, guess you ought to meet the bird. Ishi is smarter than he looks, but don't expect him to do any tricks. Ishi, come. Takes practice before he'll listen to you properly, but that's a good start. Before we get into deeper waters, I've got a question. You've got a ship and a title. Being captain means more than just wearing a big hat. A lot of tough calls to be made. Well, naturally, that's your right. A crew can be like family. They can also be like a nest of squalling infants. Let's say your galley cook was fixing to organize the rest of the crew into a mutiny. How would you handle it? I've never heard such agreeable terms of surrender. But then again, I've only served under ruthless iron braggarts. Of course, the only right answer is the one that works in a given time and place. I just wanted to hear yours. Mostly preemptive measures. We try to pull the weeds before they reach the garden. But enough about me. Glad to be aboard, Captain. I've got some answers. Uh-oh. That's his "I'm hungry and you're wasting my time" face. Better step back, Captain. I won a shooting competition at the Ranganui's estate. This was a few years before enlisting with the Navy. As a reward, he gave me the freedom of the Royal Eyrie and said I could take my pick of the warbirds. Stinkfeathers here kicked a rather pretty hawk off my arm so he could have me all to himself. Been inseparable ever since. Well, my parents came from the Deadfire. I'm getting a taste of my roots. After they emigrated to Rawatai, their talents caught the Ranganui's eye. He saw them as this spectacle, this achievement of the old country, I guess. So they were honored guests. Not many Huana rose to distinction in Takoa. We were also curiosities. Even as we broke the same bread and tossed back the same wine, the Ranganui's friends always checked under the table to see if I had a tail. Kana thought it was hilarious. You're telling me. Growing up in the Ranganui's shadow wasn't all bad. We had tutors and advisors at our disposal, and lots of folk from stranger parts than these. I spent my days learning to shoot, while my more academic siblings learned to express themselves. I leave you to judge who spent their time better. Sure am. And I heard that you two spent some time together. Funny how the gods toss things together. He came back from the Deerwood with his head full of stories about the Angwithans. Used them to make an argument for our expansion into the north, and by the gods did people ever listen. He lost some of that childish glow, but the weird ideas stayed with him. You clearly had some sway on his opinions, more than I ever did. Wish you had told Kana to give up on the poetry. He's got no ear for it. You kept him alive in any case, while he wandered the lands in search of stories. I do with bullets what Kana did with words. Just in case you were wondering, the comparison ends there.
My friend, you return!
Seek your horizons, and I shall seek mine.
Hey there.
Let's do this.
Yes, Captain.
How may I help? Oh, of course.
Please, I did nothing!
Enough! Or do you wish to consign her to the old city as well?
Let him go!
Bia, I'm sorry.
Your tongue flops like a dying fish. I tire of its stink. Lower him down!
May Tangaloa devour your souls, you cold-blooded eels.
What crime could he have committed to deserve such a fate?
Be careful. The Gullet is no place for outsiders.
You want down? Go and see Overseer Hitenga.
Otaro? He associated with foreign criminals. I cannot be certain about Biha, so I let her go. But I will be watching her.
And this is punishable by death, or worse?
That it is. These wicked sorts overrun the Gullet and corrupt the Riparu. Our justice must be swift and firm. Hers is the first house you come to. Just there. You will probably find her there. To the old city, Ikira. A god's cursed ruin filled with walking corpses and abominations of the deep.
How can you consign your fellow woman or man to this fate?
We punish only those who cause trouble. Begging your pardon for my tones, sir. The Gullet is no place to wander. Watch yourself for rowdies and pirates. Ikira. It is a cancer in the Gullet. A place of criminals and their foul dealings. And I cannot fathom for what anyone but a criminal would ask of it. Are you mad or merely lost? That place is a punishment for the lowest sort. Go and explore someplace with pleasant views and fresh air. The harbor, or Periki's Overlook. It's your neck, Ikira. We will leave the lift down there for half a day. That should be enough time to come back to your senses. After that, you are on your own. The guard will let you pass. Though I urge you to reconsider.
This is the Gullet? I had not realized. Stop, I say. This is no time for japes. The Mataru are supposed to take care of those below. This does not resemble care to me. Let us go on. Captain, thank you. I needed this.
Let's not stand too close to that.
A boss? With my own ears. Dario said there's treasures in that pit.
Shh! Have you lost your wits?
Harami!
I am here, Seduzo Nui.
Do we expect any foreign merchants today?
We do not, Seduzo Nui.
Then state your business quickly. I want to avoid another surprise. Nearly done, I hope. I sold a consignment of iron and cultural coral, and will return to Rauatai with vorals, merkberries, and Andra stars. The Royal Deadfire Company would frown on business in this district, but there's no harm if they don't know. What is your business with me? I would have nothing to do with such a place. But I hear the, proprietor might know more. Nearly done, I hope. Most do. What is your business with...
I'm starting to miss the gruel and gilded veil.
Relax, Bayer. No complications.
Relax. We're emptying a vault, not water shaping. Martino better come through with that boat he promised.
I'm sure there's a dinghy in your future.
We've no intent to disturb you. Please carry on.
Bayer, I don't know this one.
We asked not to be disturbed. What are you doing here? Well, that's the end of subtlety.
You told me you weren't followed.
Etzali can't know that I was here. Bad news for our new friend.
Hey, fresh face. Welcome to the hole. Just got 2 rules, yeah? Keep your hands to yourself, and don't fall in. Need something? What you need? Of course. The hole's been here so long as there's been a gullet. Though it ain't always been mine. What's the neighborhood without a place to get pissed drunk and lose your pants? Well, it's a bit of a story. See, I was born here. Right here, fresh face. Right on this counter. And I'll die here too, God's willing. Of course. No doubt you'd fit right in. But getting there? That's dangerous business, fresh face. But it ain't none of my business, I suppose. If you're dead set on dying, you'll find Delver's Row in the Narrows. Those twisty alleys carved into the mountain on the west side of the Gullet. You've got to make your own way from there. Dario will skin me if I say any more. You stick around the Gullet long enough, you might find out. You've got to make your own way from there. Dario will skin me if I say any more. Folks on the bottom gotta work together to get out from under those on top. Aye, I hear you, Freshface. I'll tell you how to get there without getting yourself dead first. Take a right the first chance you get. Then keep going forward until you see a merchant stall. Look close. There's a secret hallway behind a curtain there. That's your entrance. I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but all the same, you'd best watch yourself in Delver's Row. The crooks there will kill you just as soon as cheat you out of everything you own. If Dario doesn't gut you first. Need something? Lots of folks come through the hole, Freshface. Have a look around for yourself, yeah?
Why do you bother me, little Kith? No? The Gullet reeks of illness. The beds are too small. An imp tried to nest in my hair, and Firna, the tavern keeper, refuses to give me more than 1 day off a month. How am I supposed to hunt when I am chained to this stove? Maybe I'll become a pirate. Get myself a bird and an eye patch. You're all little to me. Little and squishy. How do you mean? I don't work for free. Suit yourself.
Don't see why you'd spend all that time arranging your food if you aren't making it look like a funny face.
Cheers. What do you require? We had a contract with the Valian Trading Company to defend one of their most valuable properties. If you're looking for work, I hardly recommend them. They pay well, and they pay on time.
Oh no. This does not look good. Why would someone do this to Giaccolo's work? I thought Animance's was safe here in the Deadfire. Even in a place this vile, someone must have heard or seen something. We should ask the owner if they know what happened. I hope so. Agrasima.
Knock, knock. I don't think so. Let's just keep this our little secret. Let's do this. Let's do good thinking. Spice? Spice?
Need something? Can't say I know a jackalope, fresh face, but if you're meaning that guy with all the fancy and a schmancy equipment, bunch of pirates burst in here and dragged him right out. Now, the hole's no high society tea house, but that's still some of the weirdest shit I ever seen go down here. See, the pirates, every one of them was godlike. No doubt they hauled him through the Narrows. Heard him hollering the whole way. Poor guy.
You must be new. Lucky for you, we have a special rate for newcomers. A bag of coppers in exchange for your life.
Told you.
It seems we've made a mistake. Forgive and forget, no?
Was taking Bataro not enough for you? Bataro is gone. Dead. What more do you want? Forgive me. I thought you were with the guards who took him. Other casts never visit here. Do the gods pay a visit to mock my misfortune? Or is Sacred Stair overcrowded?
Ah, forgive the intrusion. We were just leaving. That is, giving you space to grieve.
So many crowd into the Gullet and you worry about space. My village was not like this. Why does Queen Onikaza not send the foreigners away? Bataro is punished already, I say. Whatever offense he gave, do not hang it on our necks. We say the only thing that live in these depths are ghost eels. And fish eaten by ghost eels. Which are you? The traders say they bring riches in their big ships. But what reaches the Gullet? Only crime and sickness, I say. The Rowattians promise marvels, strong walls, and plenty for all. Akira, still my back aches from building their fort, and still I live here. And Bataro said we would finally leave. It is only another word. Outsiders cover our islands with walls and gates. Many Huana come to Neketaka, but even here, the outsiders crowd us. In the villages, the chieftains know even the Roparu. Here, even neighbors are strangers. That is Deadfire now. I only want to be free of this place. That is how the trouble started. I heard a Rauatine captain took up at the tavern. Suduzo, they call her. They say she is a traitor, so I thought maybe she will take passengers. Batara went and found her in the tavern. Next I see him, the guards are dragging him to the cage. Everyone knows the Rauatines are made of brass. They listen only to their commanders. But still, maybe it goes different for you. Bataro took some coin. Everything he scraped together working on the docks. And he went to bargain with the captain. I would offer it to you, but it is probably in the old city with Bataro. Or in someone else's pocket. Many ships leave from Queen's Birth, but the Valians take slaves. They say the Principe smuggle goods in the caverns below, but I cannot trust such people. But the Rauatines have mighty cannons, and a big homeland they abandoned for ours. Perhaps there is more room for us there. I tell you, I do not know where it is, and I am sure it would be little to someone like you. After what happened, Bataro would sooner have thrown it into the waters than given it to the Mataru or the Rauatines. If it is anywhere, it is surely with his body. We are 6, 3 children, 2 babes, and me. Such a strange question. A Roparu child is the child of all Roparu. At least that is the way in the village where Bataro and me came from. But here, we are all strangers. No one looks in on the sick or cares for the children. Suduzo. They say she is a traitor, so I thought maybe she will take passengers. But she threw Bataro out. Always Bataro was careful with his words, especially as a Roparu. But a Roparu in Neketaka gives offense just by breathing the air of his betters. I could never ask someone to go down to the old city, but since you offer, it is a big and dangerous place. But perhaps he hid himself. Perhaps. Please, help him if you can. Or bring me news if you cannot.
What is your business with me? The one who threatened me. I shall not soon forget him. These Huana learn too many pretty words from the Valians. You cannot trust what they say.
We had pretty words before the first ship landed on Rauatai.
Yes, but did you speak them with such deceitful intent? If only everyone did so. But you asked about... what was his name? Bataro? This fellow wanted passage on my ship. As if I were the village ferryman. I told him there was none to be had. Certainly not at his price. He told me he had coin. Lots of it. I did not believe him. How could a man who lives in a garbage heap have enough money for passage?
So you assumed the worst and threw him to the wolves?
No, you presumptuous Adiran. I assumed nothing until I saw the swollenette. A marked coin, a token of allegiance. The Principe carry them. I knew then that I was dealing with a pirate. I had heard they were influential in the Gullet, but I did not realize how much so. I called for the guards, and they dragged him away. That is the last I saw of him. There's nothing I can do. The passenger quarters have been reserved by a dwarf named Orin. Why do you bring this to me? He and his people are gold-packed knights. Orin is... particular. Perhaps that is good. He just finished a contract to guard the Valian Luminous Mill. I hear animancers are also particular. He's upstairs. Just do not interrupt him if he's arranging things. There's nothing I can do. Why do you bring this to me? What did remorse ever accomplish? Besides, this Bataro brought trouble on himself. Yes, he should have known how to behave around civilized people. That must be the first time I've ever heard civil speech in the Gullet. Very well. I could take 3 more in the hold, and no more. Orin and his crew have reserved the berths. I will already have to abandon crates of cargo to make room for these 3, plus the food and water they require. Send them to me. The sooner we leave, the better. And I told you there is none. The 3 I agreed to take will barely fit in the hold as it is.
What do you require? Indeed. The good captain has 4 adequate berths, all equally sized, all facing the same direction, and she's promised to leave promptly. A most agreeable arrangement. Out of the question. We're due in Tekoa for another contract, and the client has already paid the advance. And we have already paid Seduzo. I couldn't possibly take back the same coins I have already spent.
Dundary. These gold-packed knights have a love of obligation that matches my love of country.
A gold-packed knight is bound by his contract, and ours binds us to make all possible haste to Tekoa. Booking passage on another ship on such short notice would be most expensive. Look around. The Deadfire is filled with misery, to say nothing of the Gullet. What better life do you imagine for them in Rauatai? They will only trade one misery for another. Besides, I have a contract to fulfill. All ships leaving for Rauatai are laden with luminous Adra and other rare goods. Mercenaries, even of our skill, do not rate so highly.
They took him. For what? Bataro's the second.
And they say the pittings aren't increasing. Do they lie to themselves, or just to us? At this rate, who'll be left to suffer the Mataru's ire?
Traveler, have you any food? Surely you've a scrap to spare. Mercy, traveler. Never have I been so hungry. Always there is prize share. The pile has grown leaner these years. Little falls to our pile that is not rotten or sour from this week and maybe before. Forgive me, I say too much. If you would know more, ask Inoi. Our elder listens to those in need, and he speaks. Out of earshot of the guards. He's there. In the house to the right when you cross the bridge. He can speak of the hunger. Thank you. I'll share it, I swear. Thank you, Traveler. The Gullet is a lawless place. Forgotten. The only authority here is the Matarus, and they don't work on our behalf. But if it is a wise man you want, seek Inoi in his home. He tries to keep us safe and fed. He does not always succeed, but he does try. Trying's worth a lot down here. The black market. I have heard of it, but I have never been. I prefer to keep my head on my shoulders, Akira. But Inoi might know. Though he is blind, there is no part of the Gullet he does not see. If Inoi cannot help you, ask after Firna. She's the tavern keeper at the Hole. Her ears hear many secrets.
The Queen calls these rations. Does she expect the Raparu to subsist on garbage? Akira, there is not.
Let's just keep this our little...
That Dawnstar may be able to help. What say?
Help how?
Isn't me. Akira, no thanks.
What say you, boy? I see much and many things. I simply do not look with these eyes in the same manner that others do. I have heard much as well. People speak of your kindness, Watcher who chases Aethus. I also hear the Raparu's heartbeat, grown thready and pained. Now a Watcher comes to the Gullet, as Amira has shown me you would.
At least piety can thrive in this dark and unforgiving burrow.
That sea-swept voice. One of Andra's own comes to visit me at last. The Raparu are being crushed from the top. We starve so slowly, it is an agony.
Starving? Are the gods so occupied that they cannot see inside the mountain?
This is the Huana way. The fish of our nets are drawn for the tribe. The fruit of our fields, too, is reaped for the tribe. And the coin of our pockets belongs not to one, but to all. All spoils are gifted to the whole of the tribe. The tribe then partakes from the top down, from the most deserving to the least. The Mataru risk their lives to protect the tribe. The Kuaru provided skilled goods and services. The tribe takes care of the Raparu more than we contribute to the tribe. Or it did, before our numbers swelled too large. The Dawn Stars would feed us, but the guards forbid them to pervert the order of sharing. There was a man who helped us, a soft-hearted pirate named Ulug. He worked with the Principe captain, Mad Morena, they call her, to bring us food from the black market. But for days now, we've had nothing. Ulug was never late with his shipments, always very conscientious. A good boy. For him to disappear for several days without word, he must be dead. The Queen refuses to increase our share of the prize share. Without Ulug's shipments, we will surely starve. I am asking you, what else can we do?
Onakaza will listen. Her concern holds this island together.
Perhaps you can achieve what those of my caste cannot. Gain us favor with the crown, and always we Raparu will be indebted to you. I've lived for many years in this gullet. My skin and bones have withered with each year, twisted harder, so that the Raparu now call me Taki Takiri. Though you can see, I am not very big or much sturdy. If a dispute arises within the Gullet, I will see it resolved. That I can promise you. Both time and tragedy have rotted the Gullet into a place of filth and crowdedness. Once, we Raparu lived in a fine neck of the city. That time has fallen, and with it, the ruins of our old city under Neketaka. Long before the foreigners swarmed us, a sea quake rumbled our city, and the mountain cratered down. Many cried to Andra, and were swallowed for their efforts. Now the Mataru send us into the ruins of the old city to be punished. Within that pit lies darkness and death. Not silence, but an end. You mean the black market that lies nestled in the depths of the Narrows? The guards do their best to stomp it out, but they are a single boot against 1,000 ants. I do not know how to get there, but someone at the tavern might. If we cannot convince the Mataru nor the Principe, I believe the Dawn Stars may help us. Peatly is a child of the Dawn Stars, and has become the Gullet's most cherished healer. I believe she would willingly hear your request for charity. Speak, and I will listen.
No need to thank me.
Got nothing here worth selling or stealing. You best be on your way. Nothing a little ginger root and some bed rest won't cure. Please, let me be. That's not... Wait, you're the one Solomon and the other Dawnstar's been talking about. In that case, maybe there is. There's some sick Raparu in the back. Not much I can do for them now besides keep them comfortable. And hidden.
In my village, the sick went to the other side of the mountain. Is there nowhere deeper you can flee?
It's better than leaving them to wander the district. I can give them a dignified death, if nothing else. Because they've got Drowner's lung. Spreads like gossip and kills even faster. A gift from the Valians. Fills your lungs with fluid. Gets you coughing all the time, trying to clear them. One of my patients coughed so hard, she broke a rib. Eventually, it gets so bad, you can't hack it out. You just lie there, struggling for breath, until you choke on your own phlegm. I hear it's a long, hard end. I heard some Raparu had gotten sick, so I brought them here to care for them. City healers don't come down here.
The Raparu have no healers of their own?
These people are laborers and fishers. Many aren't even Kahanga. Wound up here after raiders and slavers tore their own tribes apart. Anyway, I realized what was wrong when I heard the rattle in their chests, the way they gasped for air. Only cure is an elixir made with pine seed oil. It costs a lot, though not nearly as much as an epidemic. Still, if news of this outbreak gets out, these poor souls will get tossed into the old city. No one with any money in Neketaka spends it on the Riparu. Maybe you can. You can get nearly anything on Delver's Row. Only trouble is finding it, and paying for it. Unfortunately, the children of the Dawnstars don't have many connections in this part of town. But I bet you could find someone at the tavern who knows where Delver's Row is. Criminal types like to wet their throats after a long day of lying, cheating, and stealing. About the only honest one. The Riparu here are treated like garbage. Even made to eat garbage from that scrap heap opposite the lift. And Dario and his Principe scum took advantage of the neglect down here to set up the black market on Delver's Road. He runs most of the criminal mischief that goes on here. Some say he's an old Valian traditionalist. Some say he's a thug with good taste. Either way, I steer clear of him. All the while, the Gullet gets more crowded as tribes from the other islands come to Neketaka. Some are driven from their homes by pirates, raiders, even trading company thugs. Others hear stories of the foreign wealth pouring into the city. What they don't realize is most of it flows between the foreigners and the palace. As best we can. Most of us came from Raid Saris after the Vorlis Plot and the Saints' War. Or we were born to families that did. We remember what it's like to scrape by. That's what Dario and his people say. They recruit Riparu to sneak things from the docks, report on meetings between traders. I can't blame the Riparu. Not when the alternative is eating from a trash pile. But I don't trust these Principe any more than I do the trading companies. And whenever the city authorities finally crack down, the Riparu will be caught in the middle. Some days, I think maybe this is why Aethys brought us to Deadfire. So we can do some good. Other days, I'm too damn tired. We tried, but the one away is prize share. Meaning anything we'd give these people has to go through the palace.
Akera, it is for the Ranga and the Mataru to feed the tribe.
Best I can tell, our food went to the Queen's table, assuming it didn't rot in the storehouse first. That's a question for Samhain. I'd ask her myself, but I got my hands full here. She's High Priestess at the Temple of Gone. Tell her Pitney sent you. She'll listen. Probably. Need something?
The Overseer says you can go below.
City beneath the city beneath the city. Each layer of Neketaka is more pungent than the last.